I would like to call to order the meeting of the Clarkston Independence District Library for May 11th, 2015 at 5:30. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Should we have the roll call?
Jan Gaffney? Here. Michelle Ginn? Here. Dan Green?
Here.
Mary Hemberg?
Here.
Sally Lamb?
Here.
Allison McFadden-Kiesling?
Here.
Marilyn Pomeroy?
Here.
Julie Meredith here.
All right. Our next item is the approval of the agenda. We would like to add one agenda item. It'll be item number 4, having to do with IT. I'll accept a motion.
I move that we accept the agenda with the addition described.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We accept the agenda. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public. I notice we have public tonight.
Multiple public.
Would you like to speak?
Yes.
All right.
As most of you know, we had our Friends used book sale about a week ago, and we did seem to collect a lot more materials than before, and we had many favorable comments from people that came in to peruse our items about how well organized it is, how easy it is to find something, and how congenial the people that are working the book sale are and helpful. So that was really nice. We then, with the leftover items, first of all, at the end of the sale, there's a group that's called Road to Rise Program. It's a group that works with community groups in Detroit and in Pontiac and with the schools in order to provide getting reading materials into the hands of these kids that might not have that opportunity. Likewise, a lot of retired educators work with this group and such. So we did have in the children's area, especially at the end of the sale, a wonderful selection of upper L, middle school, and then teen literature. And so it found a very good home. The other materials that were left, the Salvation Army agreed to take, and I wasn't aware of this, but one of our friends volunteers also volunteers over there and said they have a huge used book collection that is open to the public to purchase. So it's very gratifying to know that what wasn't sold to raise money for the library is going to help various people in the surrounding communities. And then finally, we have our Friends Board meeting on Wednesday night. As of right now, unofficially, we made just under $8,000. Hopefully, by the board meeting, we'll get the official tally. It's a little bit less than what we normally get, but still within the range that people were very satisfied. I'd like to welcome any of you to come to our meetings and see what they're like also.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments? The call to the public is over. Next item on the agenda is our consent agenda, relatively long tonight. Do we have a motion concerning that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. Anyone want to remove any item? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Library statistics. How do we look this month?
Well, we're seeing a steady increase over the course of time. Some comments from the staff, from the head of Children's and Teen Services. In addition to the 4 classes of early 5 students that visit the library each week on Friday, we are also seeing increased visits from area preschools and daycare centers. We do provide those visitors with a brief tour of the library and a story time, so that's a nice thing that we've been doing lots more of those. And once again, we are providing support to the International Baccalaureate students at Clarkston High School as they work on their senior research project. Not only do the students use the school and the public library, but we also ensure that their CIDL library card is updated to allow them to visit and utilize the Kresge Library at Oakland University, and that's something we do annually in the spring. From the head of Circulation IT Coordinator, the Friends of the Library book sale took place the last week of April. We always see a spike in the door count on preview night, Wednesday morning, and of course on $5 bag day, which is Saturday. This is a great fundraiser for the library, as well as an opportunity to showcase the library's upcoming programs and events to people who are visiting the book sale, but also for people who may not normally visit the library. So it's a great opportunity for us PR-wise. And then from the head of Technical Services, we've begun the process of retroactively updating the cases on the music CD collection. When complete, these new cases will allow patrons to check out music CDs at the self-check stations. Simultaneously, we are creating categories for the music collection. This is a project patrons have been requesting, and we've been wanting to take on for a couple of years. Shortly after we complete the CD project, we plan to begin the process of retrofitting the DVD collection into updated cases, which will also allow these items to be checked out through self-check stations. At this time, we're ahead of schedule on the CD project, and we feel if we are able to continue at this pace, that we may have both projects complete by the end of the year. And these are things that will improve our circulation. This is a project that the public wants and something that will make it easier to check out the materials. So we're excited about both of those things. Any questions about that?
Okay. Okay. And everyone has their chart of the library statistics up to date. All right. Library Director's Report.
Okay, just under general information, just a reminder, the Clarkston Independence District Library will be recognized at the Clarkston Community Awards Breakfast on Tuesday, May 19th for community enhancement. The Friends of the Library purchased a number of tickets so that the library board, staff, and friends may attend, and we are very excited about this honor, so I just had to say it again.
Of course.
In April, 3 library board members and I attended a workshop at the Rochester Hills Public Library about strategic planning. This was a great learning experience, and I believe inspired us to lay out a timeline for our own strategic planning process. So you will be seeing information about that probably at the next meeting. Earlier this year, I was invited to sit on the jury of an architectural design class working on a project to design a public library. While I've been doing this on my own time, it has been a great opportunity to work closely with young people and see how their vision of what a library could be. The students completed that class and are now taking the next class in the series, in which they will continue working on their library design, but take it to the construction drawing stage. To this end, the students visited our library, viewed the construction drawings of our building, and took an extensive tour of our facility in order to help them see how the representations on paper appear in real life. Early next month, I will again sit on the jury to see the progress on their projects. I believe this experience will be beneficial as we begin our strategic planning process, and it has been a lot of fun to sort of see these young people talk about what they would like to see a library look like, what the future of a library really is. So this has been really enlightening.
Yeah,
It was a very, very exciting project.
Great.
So, yeah. For collaborations and projects, the Detroit Institute of Arts sponsored another Oakland County Day on Saturday, May 9th. This is an opportunity for residents throughout the county to enjoy a free ride to the DIA. Once again, our library participated as a pickup point. The bus was running late due to construction, but the 24 participants were given an extra hour at the museum to make up for the delay and returned in the afternoon, having had a wonderful time. So that was another successful event. Just a really neat opportunity for people to go down to the DIA and not have to worry about parking.
Really
and all of that.
That is nice.
I know a lot of people do appreciate that. As discussed previously, the local Arts Council applied to the DIA Inside Out program in which reproductions of art are placed in outside venues around town. Clarkston has been selected as a DIA Inside Out town for the summer season from August to October. At the last meeting, we were waiting to hear At this meeting, I'm pleased to let you know that we've received word that the library will be a site for a piece of art. The reproduction we will be hosting is Girl and Laurel by Winslow Homer. It will be installed on July 28th and removed in November 2015. The DIA will pay for the installation and de-installation of this exhibit, so we're very, very excited about that as well.
Where will it be?
We gave them sort of a layout of the grounds, and they're still kind of trying to decide. They want to put it near a garden because there are flowers, and the young woman in the photo, or in the artwork is flowers behind her in a basket, and we're thinking it might go up near the crabapple trees, where the driveway and the safety path intersect, so that people who are using that safety path all summer will be able to stop and enjoy the art as well. But I'm not sure. They kind of get to decide based on the grounds.
It
Good
does.
idea to
It
put it
sounds
up
great.
there. I like that.
Yeah, we thought that would be a really neat place for it. And in the image, there are sort of pink flowers behind her, and that crabapple tree is so pretty all summer long. So we thought that that would be very pretty and would sort of integrate it into the
Well, and it
grounds.
might actually like draw people into
So I was
the
thinking.
library.
Yep.
Because if you put it on this side of the building, then
You have
it's
to
only
already
the
be
people who
here.
are, it's only the people who are already here.
You
And
don't want them to have to hunt for it too much. You want them to be able to
No,
know where
that's,
it
I
is.
think that's nice.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. All here for tonight.
All right, thank you. Okay, on to regular business. First item on the agenda is update and explanation of the tax distribution from Oakland County.
Last year, the library's millage was held by the township, so tax reconciliations for adjustments and late payments were handled through the township. Beginning with the 2014 tax collection, the millage is in the library's name, so once the initial tax collection has been completed in February, tax reimbursements and collections of late payments are handled by Oakland County on a monthly basis beginning with April. Each month, Oakland County will send us an itemized report of all tax disbursements and collections attached to the library's millage. In addition, they will provide a summary report and a payment document, which is attached. If we owe the county money for reimbursements, the payment document will be an invoice due on the first of the month. If the county has collected taxes in excess of the reimbursements, the payment document will indicate the amount of the check that Oakland County will issue to us. So you'll see from the documentation that I've provided to you for April, according to the April report, Oakland County will be sending us a check for $50,615.79. So
It's much better than a bill.
it's much better than, it is much better than a bill. The question that I have for the board is, and Jan and I have talked about this, and I think probably what we'll do going forward is provide this report, these 2 pages for you in your board packet as part of the consent agenda so that you can see it and acknowledge that it has been given to you. I don't know that we need to review it verbally every month. But we thought that that would be nice. But this first month, we wanted to give you an explanation and give you a chance to ask questions.
It went so smoothly.
Yeah, it did. It went very, very smoothly. It just, the paperwork it came in email with a 20-page document explaining the whole thing, which I knew you probably didn't really need to see, but
It was not real exciting.
Yeah, Jan and I looked at it, and we totally understand what we're supposed to be doing, so.
That's what they call necessary information.
It is. What we affectionately call here is library dull but worthy.
All right.
Any questions? Okay, all right.
I have one question. I'm assuming that April is when you're likely to see the largest amount either way.
I would think so. There is a board of review process that takes place in March, April.
Right.
So depending on how many reimbursements take place, it could be that that's when the largest amount, I don't know, I'm not really sure, but it would either be, I would assume, be April or May that we would see the biggest reimbursement. And you'll see on here the reimbursements that took place, I believe was $767.75.
Okay.
So since...
They just subtracted that.
Yep, they just subtracted that out. And the actual full report has absolutely every single listing of what was collected, and I thought that that was maybe a little bit excessive. If you would like me to put it in your packet, I'd be more than happy to do so, but I thought the summary was probably enough for these purposes.
Any questions or comments on the process?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 2, our staffing subcommittee recommendations.
Yeah. That would be me. Okay. In 2012, when the library board was formed, there was a blanket approval of the organizational structure and the job descriptions. Early this year, a staffing subcommittee of 3 library board members was formed to review and update these items. Based on in-depth research of other Class 5 libraries in Southeast Michigan, the CIDL lags significantly behind other similar libraries in salary ranges for almost all positions. This puts us at a competitive disadvantage in recruiting and retaining staff members. Corrective adjustments in salary ranges were needed to make the CIDL competitive with other Class 5 libraries in this area. Included in your packet are the updated organizational chart, job descriptions with salary ranges, and budget adjustments as recommended by the Library Board Staffing Subcommittee. Does anybody have any questions about any of that?
No, so this chart is our new organizational chart now for all of our staff positions.
And all the job descriptions for all the full-time and part-time
Yeah.
employees are included.
Yeah, they're real helpful to have that.
I think the job descriptions really needed to be updated.
Yeah.
So very much appreciate that committee's work on that.
We do, because these are a lot of job descriptions, so.
Yes, they are.
Very helpful. Any comments, questions? Everyone has had a chance to review all of these.
Right.
As a former librarian, Alice and I, of course, were very interested on reading all of the job descriptions in terms of who's doing what and whose responsibilities there are. They were very clear and detailed. So I thank the subcommittee for working very well on that. Thank you. All right, do we have a motion regarding this item?
I move to approve the updated organizational chart, job descriptions with salary ranges and budget adjustments as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the organizational chart, job descriptions with salary ranges and budget adjustments as presented. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, if not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. All right, number 3. Now we get to the even longer item on the agenda. Okay, let's take a look at the review and discussion of the parking lot recommendations.
At the April meeting, the library board requested an updated assessment of the conditions of the library's parking lot by HRC, which is a consulting engineering firm that we used in 2012, including recommended project strategies. Taking into consideration the previous cost estimate and the current budget, the library director suggested that HRC provide a total cost of the project for comparison purposes and a plan for doing the project in 3 phases, requesting that the phases be prioritized based on the areas that are in greatest disrepair. An engineer from HRC reviewed the previous report and assessed the current condition of the parking lot. After discussing his initial findings with the library director, it was agreed that he should add an assessment of the storm drains as well as the concrete walkways. Both of these items are also in need of significant repair, and it would make sense to work them into the phasing of the parking lot project instead of waiting to tackle them as a separate project. Unaddressed drainage issues could shorten the life of the updated parking lot and should be dealt with in conjunction with these major repairs. Damaged walkways can pose a risk to visitors to the library, and since they are directly connected to the parking lot, they could be repaired at the same time, including the addition of important ADA accessibility features at the library's entrance. HRC presented the attached report, which is pretty extensive. The new portion of the report are the first 15 pages, and then it includes the 2012 report, as well as a very extensive explanation of the installation of the parking lot in 1991. So it's a pretty hefty review.
What was shocking was the increase from 2012.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's 2
Well-
things at work here. The first is HRC explained that there are not, due to the drop in the economy, there are not as many contractors doing that work. Plus, there's that much more work to be done, so that automatically raises the prices. The other piece is the estimates I don't know if the 2012 estimate, but the initial review of the contractor who suggested that we just do the driveway and we budgeted $50,000, he wasn't taking into account what should be done to the storm drains. So when we initially put that much money aside, the storm drains were not being taken into consideration. He was strictly saying it would be $50,000 just for the asphalt, yeah.
Now,
So
did he mention, are these storm drains connected to the wetlands directly between here and the administration building? Is that where, I wonder if that's where the drainage is going?
I'm not sure. What he was concerned about, though, is that those storm drains have not been
Upgraded.
Upgraded, yeah. They have not been rebuilt in the entire length of the parking lot life. He was actually really impressed that it had done as well as it had. And his indication of why that is because this is actually pretty good drainage underneath our parking lot. And so he was surprised that
It held up
it held up as well as it has, that we haven't had these types of issues much sooner. But his feeling was still the same in terms of pulverizing and repaving.
That was good.
Yep, so he came back with the same response, but yes, it did go up from $270,000 estimate to $398,000 estimate, which is.
And there was, I saw that he commented that he would expect that the prices might continue to rise quite dramatically.
Yep.
So I don't know if we want to give more consideration to trying to do as much of this now at current prices as we possibly
It's a possibility as
can
well.
do. I mean, I know that that's a lot more money than we thought we would need to put into the parking lot this year, but
Yeah.
Is there a possibility of doing phase one and then evaluating a little later in the
Well, if you look at
season, whether we want to do two?
the budget that was presented in the last item with the budget adjustments, if I can find it. Here it is. There is $106,000 in undesignated revenue. And we set aside $50,000 in the building budget to tackle this. So there is adequate money to do phase one,
Yeah.
Yes.
without question.
But phase one did not include the storm?
Phase one
drains?
includes
It
the storm
does.
drains, it does. Phase one would include,
Those are the two squares
Okay, I see those.
sitting,
no,
No.
no,
What is
they're not. The parking lot, maybe I should have done this, I'm sorry, I should have probably put this up on the screen, I didn't think to do that. The driveway all the way down,
Right.
there is a storm drain in the southeastern corner.
oh, okay.
Yep.
In that
And then
black-
there's another one that's at the intersection where the stop sign is out here. Those are the two storm drains it's referring to. There is a third storm drain that is in the southwestern corner. He was less concerned about that one and actually put that one into phase three. He does have these two little areas in red that are between the little islands that house the parking lot lights at the south end of the parking lot. He did want to temporarily patch those to get us through to phase three.
Because they're sinking.
Because they're sinking, but they're not
In the phase one area.
they're not in the phase one area, no, but they do need some,
And this one here, you want to address that too? That part of it?
Is that the walk- is that the
that's the
steps?
little,
That's
that's
great.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
the steps, and at the very, very top of the steps, we have a place that's shifting that we've had shaved down to smooth it off, but they wanted to, they're recommending taking out that whole intersection right there and fixing both of those.
That's great.
That whole piece.
That's a safety issue.
That's
that's
a safety issue.
a huge safety issue.
So phase one would be the driveway from the road all the way to the end of the parking lot. That concrete work at the top of the steps, including the steps,
Right.
and then these two temporary patches at the end of the parking lot. Phase two would be the loop around the island and the delivery access drive that goes around the west side of the building. And you'll notice that includes, phase two includes a lot of the concrete work. And one of the things that he was recommending is that all of the concretes at work at the entrance of the library, and we've talked about this. We've done patchwork the last 2 years. We were talking about wanting to phase that in and do some sort of major repairs on that, and he has blocked out what he thinks needs to be done. And that would include a new ADA ramp, which is not technically up to code. We haven't done any major repairs, so we're not in violation, but since we're talking about doing major repairs, now would be the time to do it. And I believe what would go there are those, the little bumpy
Yes.
stop points at the bottom of that ramp. That's what he's talking about, that's not within ADA compliance. It's not the width or the length or anything like that. It's that they're installing those in municipalities all over, and they've done it in my own neighborhood, and we should be doing it here as well. So that would be part of phase 2. And then phase 3 would be the major parking lot proper and the rebuilding of that big storm drain.
Does phase 2 run all the way up to the library doors?
It does.
Now, replacing those doors is not in our current budget. Is this going to impact that project?
It could. We don't have a timeline for doing those doors. We might tackle that as a separate.
That's not till next year anyway. But I'm in
Right,
just looking
right.
at those doors.
That's a good question,
If
though.
we're going to run right up, we always have a problem when we see work that's done to like 10 feet from the
Right.
intersection or whatever, then the work stops, then you have the mess right there that you have to tackle in some other way. So if we're going to go up to the doors in phase 2, it might be a time to look at the condition of the doors, because they are also,
Well, this week, we're not struggling with the front doors. This week, we're struggling with the back door. So we had some trouble with the back door over the weekend, so.
but since we're having
Okay.
issues with the doors,
So I'm going to make a note that we want to consider the doors, potentially front and back, as part of phase 2.
yes, because
Okay.
we're going right to the
Got it.
doors in phase 2.
Yep.
So that might be an adjunct
Okay.
And
we should consider.
should we have some unexpected revenue, I think that we might want to revisit this later in the year.
That's what I was thinking.
You know, because in 2 more years, when we get to phase 3, these costs might
Oh, absolutely.
go up quite
Quite a bit.
dramatically. And if, I realize that we don't have it right now, but
Right.
We have to do it eventually.
if
We'll have to
something,
do it eventually.
if something good came along, and then
Yeah.
we might want to revisit this later in the year.
Absolutely. And we did talk a little bit about having to plan out the project itself in terms of access to the building and that kind of thing. He did say the disadvantage of doing the whole project all at once is we would literally have to shut down for at least a week because it's
Yeah.
just a major project. Doing it in phases does allow us to sort of work around and maybe close for a day or 2, but not close for an extended period of time. Because this first phase is the main entrance to the library,
Yes.
it does add time into the length of the project. If they're trying to maintain access by allowing us to drive, like they did when they did Baldwin Road, for example, where they let you drive on one side while they fix this side, and then they let you drive on the other side. And so we're going to have to figure that out, and that's part of the necessity of having an engineer help us navigate that piece of it, so.
Isn't there an increased cost in doing it that way? Didn't I read
There
that?
probably will be.
That there is,
Yeah.
if we want to maintain access. I was wondering, instead of closing, if we could, some kind of agreement with our neighbors across the street.
I'm sure we could. I'm sure we
Something like
could.
that.
We've always had sort of an unwritten, unspoken agreement with the church across the street. When they have overflow and when we have overflow, we are able to share parking lots. When they have a big event, they use our parking lot. And same with the school administration building next door. When we used to do the parking lot sale, we would use
And
their
as long
parking
as we're
lot.
not
and they
interfering
use our
with
parking
any
lot
of
when they-
their events,
Right.
you know, we
Yep.
could try to schedule around their needs, but I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I do too.
my next question has to do with the length of time between a decision by the board and the requisite paperwork
Right, it is.
and application for bids.
I think that probably what would be wise tonight would be to determine definitively, do we want to tackle phase 1? And then probably what we want to do is consider setting that money aside for that project and then talking to the engineers about getting the process started of developing the RFP that matches what it is that we would like to do. I think if we want to do this, we need to kind of get rocking and rolling on it, or we're not going to get,
Right,
we're
there
not going
won't
to be
be
able to find
anybody
a
available to
contractor.
do it.
I don't even
Yes,
know how long.
it's kind of like the roads.
Yeah.
Even if you get the money for the roads, how long does it take to do
Exactly.
something? And we definitely do not want to go through another winter
No.
with our parking, with our entrance. We would like not to have to cold patch and hot patch again,
Right.
if we can avoid
Maybe we
that.
could get this, I'm thinking it's gonna be at least September now, by the time the bid goes out, and whoever bids it is already probably very
Yep.
booked on jobs.
We're already in May.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Does anyone, I'll entertain a motion on phase 1 of the project, if someone would like to make one.
I move that we go forward with phase 1 of the parking lot repaving project and ask the engineer to prepare RFP documents.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we advance with phase 1 of the parking lot project. Any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is carried. The next item with that is, do we need to transfer funds to our building
Well, we have-
line item?
Oh, yeah.
We do have $50,000 set aside for this, which is enough to cover the initial going forward of, the engineering fees are listed in here.
We
Fine.
could transfer,
We can go ahead and
Amounts
transfer it
later?
tonight. Well, we can do it tonight, or we can do it later. That part is,
Yeah. You might want to wait until the actual
until we
bids
have
come
some
in,
actual
When we have the
figures.
actual figures, exact
Yes.
figures.
because these are just the engineer's estimates, right?
they are.
Yeah.
So we've got, I'm just kind of flipping back here. Phase 1 is estimated to be $121,336. The engineering cost for the whole project is estimated to be $20,000.
Okay,
And
so-
normally, we would put that $20,000 in contract service fees, but this is the whole project. So I guess it's up to the board how we want to tackle where that money
Comes from.
comes from. If you want, we can do it as an entire project, all out of the building budget. It would streamline things, but if you would prefer, when we do budgeting, to be able to see that contracting money coming out of the professional contract services, we can do that as well.
All right, my feeling is, we don't have enough information to make a decision on this part of the item. So let's proceed with getting the RFP prepared and getting some estimates.
I think that if we decide later that we want to clean up where it got charged to, we can do adjustments, right?
And really, all I need to do at this point, we're early enough in the year, that as long as you're saying, yes, I have permission to do this project, we can make that budget adjustment. It's not like we're going to run out of money in that budget, under even the professional. So I guess the question is, I think what I can do is go ahead and charge it to that line item. We're
For the
not going to go
contract
over
services
budget.
line.
I'll make a note, and we can make that correction in June.
Okay.
When you know more, and we can transfer it in to make sure that other things that we would be charging to that line item are fully covered when we get to them.
Yes,
So-
that sounds,
I think
I'm
that's-
happier with that.
Okay.
Is that, are we all in
Yeah, that works.
agreement?
That works.
Yes,
All
that
right.
works.
Is
All
it
right.
feasible to think that we might have, I don't remember when our June meeting is, but that we might have actual bids by the June meeting?
The June meeting is the 22nd. I guess it depends on how quickly they work. They know that we want to move on this. So if you're
And
saying that we should.
they've done actually some of the initial legwork that they would need to do for an RFP, and they've
Absolutely.
undoubtedly done hundreds of RFPs for this kind of work.
Yep.
So it shouldn't take them a real long time, I wouldn't think, to kind of throw that all together.
I wouldn't think so.
Well, so we can make that a goal,
Yep.
and hopefully it'll work out.
I can ask them if that's feasible. If it's not, then I believe the July meeting is the 20th, but you could call a special meeting when we do know.
True.
If need be in July.
I think that it would be
I
worth
think so,
having a
if we're
special
gonna get
meeting for
in
it.
before-
Right. I don't
We
want
have to
this
get
to
it in before
drag
the end
on.
of the season.
I hate to do things in the summer when our big programs are in
Right.
place, but on
Right.
the other hand, there isn't going to be any time that's great.
No.
No, and once you lock it into place, you know, you've approved the bid and you have a contract, the work doesn't necessarily have to start the minute you have the contract, but if you don't get everything put together and get on their list.
And that's where we are right now, is we're not on their list, and we need to be on their list, so. Okay, so I will charge the HRC to the professional and contract services line item. I'm making a note that we will do a budget adjustment
Preferably in June.
in June to accommodate that. And that also with the, there's enough money in this, in the building line item, that anything we needed to do going forward, I can't imagine what it would be, because it's going, you're going to see the RFPs and all that first, so. I will talk to HRC and find out if it's possible, if they think it's possible. Well, they'll make it happen. If you say you want to see bids on June 22nd, they'll make sure that they have it pulled together by then. It's just a matter of, are we giving them enough time to get good, solid bids? So I'll find that out from them and update you on
Yeah,
the
they'll
bids.
have a good sense of how long it would take. Again, the people who are going to be
Mhm.
submitting bids
Yep.
have done hundreds of them and likely can work them up quickly if necessary.
And I worked with HRC when we did the roof and the HVAC when we were still a township department, and they are incredibly efficient. They work very quickly, and so I would think that they'd be able, it's a matter of getting it posted and out there. And
So that was a good choice by the township to do the
Mhm.
initial evaluation.
Yep.
Thank them
It
for
gave us a
that.
solid base to start.
Okay.
All right. All right, item number 4, which is at everyone's table.
This is approval of technology disposal. The library board approved the replacement of all public computers in 2015. Our head of circulation IT coordinator has completed that project. As many pieces of technology as possible were repurposed. Attached is a list of items, including some that were donated that have far exceeded their useful life. These items are being proposed for recycling. We have an opportunity to properly dispose of these items through an electronic recycling program at no charge right away. Normally, I would have put this on the consent agenda. I probably would have put it on June. But because we have this opportunity, I'm sort of putting it on at the last minute because we would like to be able to do this. He's cleared all the drives, he's erased everything that should need to be erased, but we have this great opportunity to get it out the door in a properly and in a timely fashion, and move on from there.
And a responsible.
In a very responsible way, yep, and not cost us even
Penny.
one
Wow.
thin dime.
That's really nice because it has.
Yeah.
it
I
has-
like that.
It's been harder and harder to find ways
Mhm.
to dispose of technology
Yep.
without paying to have it
The-
disposed of.
When we got rid of our last copy machine, I think it was $140 to get rid of it, so this is a great opportunity. So.
Okay, I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve the disposal of the updated technology.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the disposal of our outdated technology for free. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. No discussion there, huh?
That was
All
Thanks to
right.
Bill for finding out about that.
Thank you for being very efficient and having read all our packets. We had a lot of things to look at this time. I will accept a motion for adjournment.
So move.
Second.
You get that, Debbie? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn at 6:08. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned at 6:08. Thank you.